everyone, and welcome to another Nomad Masterclass, where every week I interview someone who's living life on their own terms as a digital nomad, living and traveling around the world and working online. And today I am joined by Daria from Murashka Consulting, and she's going to talk a little bit about her new business that she started this year. Is that correct? This year?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And we're just going to go through what she does as a consultant. So welcome, Daria. It's really nice to have you here.
Thank you, Hannah. I'm really happy to be here with you.
Cool. And so would you be able to tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you're from and what you're doing right now, where you're traveling?
Yeah, so basically I'm a Russian Ukrainian. I'm born in Russia and I grew up in Sweden, in Stockholm. And the last 5 years I've been living and working in France, in south of France, where I met my partner, who's French Argentinian. And we ran a language school for 5 years. And every summer we travel for 4 months, and we kind of we're both travelers. We love being on the road. He speaks 12 languages, I speak 5. So we kind of polyglots. We love people and communication. And this year we decided to go for a bigger trip. So we left and we closed our school. We left everything. And we have been on the road since March. Yeah. And as I was working a lot with social media and digital marketing in my companies, and I have also a nonprofit where I had the communication team, I decided to focus 100% on social media, and especially helping artists and creative people and small businesses like digital nomads, creative social entrepreneurs, people who love their job basically, and who I want to help to promote themselves online and to brand better. Yeah.
Cool. And so you're in Australia right now, right?
Yeah, I'm in Melbourne. I don't know if you call Melbourneian, or how do you call people from Melbourne?
Well, I don't even think we have a name. I don't know, actually, because I'm from Queensland. We're Queenslanders, I guess. Victorians, but I don't know what a Melbourne person is.
I'm a Melbourne person since 5 days.
You've been there for 5 days?
Yeah, we've been traveling in Australia for the last 6 months. Cool. And working and trying to experience. There's so much to see in Australia, so we're traveling a lot.
And are you living in your van?
No, we have a van. We bought a van. It was practical to have. We just moved to an area where we took a shared house. So we have our own room, and then we have the van as well. But the van is good for when you're on the road between towns, and it's harder for me at least, to work in my van. I know that people might manage to do that, but the connection sometimes is too bad. So,
And how do you go about visas staying in Australia for 6 months? What kind of visa are you on?
So I'm on a work and holiday visa. And as I'm a Swedish citizen as well, I grew up in Sweden. I have the right to work here for a year. Yeah. And when you work, here you can have a tax number, so you can be employed, and then you can also have a freelance number. So I got the freelance number, so I can invoice Australians clients.
Okay, that's cool. So the freelance number, is that like an Australian business number, or it's something
exactly
different?
So it's a solo trader, I think it's called.
Okay.
So you're allowed to work with different clients and invoice them and tax them.
Okay, for a year.
For a year, exactly.
That's really cool. And okay, so what inspired you to actually get started as a digital nomad and work online? I know you said that you were working already in that sort of space, but did you already know some other people who were digital nomads, or what got you actually started?
I would say, I think many, Tim Ferriss is a big role model with his 4-hour work week. When he wrote that, and when I read that, it kind of made sense. I always loved working with things I love, and create, and entrepreneurship is something that is completely normal for me and part of my life. So when I read that book, and I realized I can actually mix my traveling and my languages and my businesses, I start to teach online in a language school, and I start to see that I can actually be in Sweden, in France, anywhere, and I can still work.
Yep.
So I said, why not? And always try to go towards that. And as internet is getting better and Skype is working better, and there are so many tools you can use, I just said that let's go for it. Let's just focus on it and see how it goes, and develop it from there. And and it's great to have a community. I do love that part, because you need that. You need to exchange ideas and have other people sharing their stories, the tips, because we are all in the same boat. We all, it's a kind of new thing, so it's good to have this kind of tribe where each other out.
I agree. And also, like I've said before as well, like some people they try out this lifestyle and they feel very lonely because they haven't found their community, kind of thing. And that's why it is important, because there are a lot of people who are doing it, but it's just about finding them and then, like, collaborating with them and just helping each other. And that's
exactly
going.
And I would say to try to build real connections online. That's what I'm working with a lot. I'm giving workshops in that, like, create your online community and go from this likes and I like what you're doing, and actually do things together and collaborate. Like, I met this girl on Instagram who's a wedding singer / marketing manager guru kind of thing, and I knew that she was coming to town. I said, let's meet, let's have a coffee. And and then you meet these people that are so creative and they know what you're going through, so you can actually, we had 2 hours of just like, wow, there's so much we want to talk and ask each other. And it helped me, because that gave me some more energy, and it kind of boosts you when you meet people that trying to do this.
And I'm sure, like, it would have been the same vice versa as well for her, like to learn from you as well. It's always good.
Exactly. So actually at the moment we are thinking of doing a webinar together. So she's in Brisbane and I'm here, so you can actually find collaborative different projects that you can start. You don't need to be in the same town or city or even in the same country. I would say maybe time zone is good, because when you have 10 hours difference, it's quite difficult, but for the rest you can do things together.
And so did you say you started off by moving your language school online? Is that how you got started?
Yeah, exactly. So first I had basically we had the language school training center teaching adults, and then as I'm speaking Swedish, I had people contacting me for Swedish, because Swedish is a kind of small language, and French people needing a professional trainer in Swedish, it's hard to get. So they will contact me from Paris, even from Switzerland and other countries. So I started to teach Swedish, and I said, well, if this is working, why not? I can actually, do other things as well. And so I started to teach English, French, whatever. And my partner, he made the TED Talk, if you know the TED. So he had more than 90,000 views on his TED. Cool. And that gave a lot of, that gave us some promotion as well, because people start to know about our methods and how we are teaching. So people start to contact us from different cities as well. So I said, we'll give it a try and see if Skype is good enough, and it worked. Yeah. And
do you still do that, or are you just mainly doing your social media stuff now?
Well, I'm more focusing on social media. I'm not against the idea to do some language coaching, but as my network is in France and it's 10 hours time difference between France and Toulouse, where I live, in Melbourne, it's a bit hard. So I decided to really focus on like online marketing, and that's also something I really wanted to work with. So at the moment it's 100% this. So I will not search for it. If someone contacts me and wants to work with my methods, and know that, like, if they find me, of course I'm open to the idea, but I will not promote that more.
Cool. And so you're a social media consultant. So what do you do as a social media consultant? What kinds of things do you help your clients with?
So I mostly work with people who aren't so savvy. They don't really know how that works. So let's say, or they are doing something, but they are not doing it like with a content plan and with all the stats and all the tools. So they kind of experiencing the first steps and like, oh, this is interesting. How can I do this? So I work with a lot of people like that. So that can be like small companies or like entrepreneurs. I work with a fashion stylist, bike tour company in Cairns, and the different things, and a lot of artists. So what I do is that I help to explain to artists in a simple way how that works, how they can create a community online. Mm-hmm. And so it's not so much about numbers or graphic and data and that's kind. I try to speak their language because I think that we can all use social media in a really good way, and it's more about communication. It's a dialogue. Yep. So I help them to create a dialogue online so they can share their art and talk about their creativity. And so it's more not so much about, hey, come and buy this, more about actually have a real community that motivates them to create more art and feel that they're not alone.
Yeah, cool. And how do you go out and find clients? All of your clients are Australian?
Well, at the moment, yes. Yeah. So I try to really work with Australia and target Australian market.
And you're finding your clients through like the online networking, like you said, is that correct? Like going out.
So I host workshops wherever I go. Yeah. I have hosted workshops in Byron Bay, in Brisbane, in Cairns, and I will host workshops here in Melbourne. So I usually collaborate with co-working spaces. So that's more for like social media for businesses, social media for entrepreneurs, digital nomads, and then I work with art galleries and art schools, and I host workshops for their students. So I kind of rely on the network of the place I'm working with. Yeah. So I need to have a venue that already has a good network and actually want to work with me. Yeah. And then that I'll also offer private consultations on one-on-ones. And I'm also writing a book that is social media for artists and creative people. Okay. So as I get people contacting me from like other cities where I've been hosting workshops and asking me where I will come back, and I'm not even sure if I will ever go back. Yeah. So the idea is actually to offer something for people who missed the first workshops that I did.
Yeah. And how do you find the process of start getting these workshops going? Do you find is it quite easy to contact different venues and things and organize the workshops?
Or? I would say that's I like the Australian mentality for that. People kind of, okay, let's go for it. You have an idea, let's try and see how it works. Yes. So I've been really happy for, the people are quite open-minded and quite, okay, let's do this. So, of course, take some time, and you need to stay in the city at least 1 month, I would say. So it's good to, if you know that, okay, you're going to be around for a month, you start in time, so you have the time for the promotion and everything. But for me, it's really important to be part of the local community wherever I am. I don't want to be in my bubble online and not actually having interactions with the people I'm in the city where I'm living. So I try to mix both. And for me, it's a good way to get that interaction and be part of, like, co-working spaces are great for that. You can have a mix of digital nomads. You have local entrepreneurs, you have creative graphic designers. A lot of people it's a melting pot, and it's a center where we meet and where we can exchange ideas, and it's kind of open to that. So
co-working spaces are a great place to hold workshops, because like you said, the people are already there and ready to learn and ready to share ideas. So and do you sort of like have to rent a space or something like that, or you just go in and you host? Is it a free event?
It depends really. There are different ways of doing that. There are some places where you can have hire, like you rent the place. Sometimes you will give a certain percentage of your what you get from the workshop to the place. Sometimes you will have another way to, like, you maybe, yeah. So it's all depends on the place. It depends really. And sometimes when I do free workshops, they give me the venue for free. But
okay, yeah, that's good. Okay, so what do you find the most challenging about working online and traveling at the same time? Or like, what did you find challenging when you were getting started as well?
So I would say it's hard. Well, in the beginning, it was hard to mix both, because, you know, you want to have a consistency when you work online, that you work up, you have a like kind of day ritual where you do this and that. First thing I would say is difficult, it's the connection. Like you never know if the Skype connection or the connection will be good enough to have in a one-on-one session, or you don't know if you will have a place where you can just sit down and do your work. Well, the co-working spaces are good for that. Going from travel to work mode. So when you're traveling, okay, the idea is, to me at least, is that I don't know where I will be next week. I don't know where I'll be tomorrow. I'll have my van, I'll just go somewhere, and then I just, you know, I might meet some people and they will invite me somewhere, and I just like try to organize your work into that. So the best thing I realized that the best thing to do, for at least to me, is that I go when I'm in a travel mode, I'm in travel mode, and when I'm work mode, I'm in work mode. It means maybe in the same week I will work and travel, but when I'm doing one thing, I'm not doing it 100%, and that's easier, kind of to program so you're not feeling bad when you're not working, and you kind of have the energy to focus on your work when you're not traveling. So going slow is the best thing. In the beginning, we're going a bit too fast because we wanted to see more. So I would say if I stay in a city less than 1 month, I will not even bother trying to organize a workshop or conference or, you know, lunch talks or anything. I will just focus on my online communication, just writing blog posts, content creation, maybe try to find online clients more than, you know, developing something in that city. And if I stay longer, I will take the time to really, you know, get into that. So when I'm traveling, I'm trying to say, okay, I'm going to do anything more than just focusing on what I can do without having internet or without having good connection, at least.
It is, that is something that is quite difficult for people when they first get started, is like, you're a digital nomad now, so it's like, oh, I can travel and work, but you really do need to to get things done well, you do need to separate the work and the travel still. Otherwise, you don't get anything really done to the best of your, you know, you don't get to see everything that you want to see, and you also don't get your work done to the best of your ability. So like that's why I love if we're traveling, we love to, if we're not like staying in a place for very long, like if we're just passing through, we'll get there early in the morning, and then we'll go to a cafe by the beach or something and sit there all day and work, and then we'll drive, because we also did a road trip like a few years ago, and we did this like when we were driving between cities, like we would have some travel time, but then other times we would have to get in a place really early and work all day, and then leave late at night to actually get things done, not just like a bit here and there, because it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. And also, like, I read somewhere that the time you actually get concentrated, like if you're working on something and someone comes to interrupt you or something happens around you, it can take up to 45 minutes to get into the same work mode. So that's why it's so important to actually have these blocks of time what you know that, okay, no one will gonna bother me now, I'm just gonna focus on this and nothing else, you know, kind of plan it out, and then you do that, and then when you finish, you just relax and you just, you know, have fun. In Russia, we have a really good expression for that, and I will say it in Russian and I'll explain it. So konchi dela, guляй смело, and that means finish what you have to do, and then you can really relax and have fun 100%. You're mentally present to just go for it, you know, because if you do things halfway, you just have this thing, oh, I didn't answer that email and I didn't do that and blah, blah, blah. And then you just feel like you're not really enjoying where you are.
Yeah.
So finish up what you have to do and then just relax. And have fun. Yeah.
So when you started your business, like where do you have like oh yeah, you said that you've got the freelance number in Australia, right? So does this act kind of like as a business, right? So you've got like a business account or this kind of thing, or you run through like your own personal account, business bank account?
No, I don't have a business account. As a freelancer in Australia, you don't need that.
Okay.
Depends of the country where you work. So I know that in France they're changing the laws about that. But I think you need to have like a business account. You just have to check in what country, like what status you have in every country. I try to keep it simple. So normally if you have a freelance number, you can just invoice and that's all. You don't have to focus so much about, all the tax things, or like if you buy something then you can get something back. I just try to like, okay, this is what I need, and then I can focus on my business.
So, and with the tax, will you just sort that out at the end of the financial year with an accountant or something? Like
exactly.
Yeah. So, and as a freelancer, you will just have to pay your tax at the end of the year.
Exactly.
Yeah. How do you receive your income month by month? Are you just like directly invoicing your clients?
Yeah, exactly. So just simple invoicing and nothing too complicated. Yeah.
Very simple. Yeah. And finally, what tips can you give someone who is looking to do a similar thing to you? So starting like a service-based business online.
I would say that planning is really good. Like what I do every 3 months is that I write down my vision and my dreams, what I want to do, and like where I want to get with my projects and my traveling. So I would say that, for instance, I would love to like focus on writing my book, or I would love to travel more, or I don't know. So I will write that down, and from that I will try to take out real tasks so I can actually work towards my goals. And then I use Trello for that. It's really good. So I kind of try to have a vision board, but a written vision board in order to work towards my goals. So doing that every 3 months allow you to know that, okay, this is what I wanted to do 3 months ago, and this is where I am today. When you're lost, you can always come back to that and say, okay, I actually managed to do this, and that didn't work so well, but maybe I can, do it differently. Another thing I would say is that when you start off, try to find a mentor if you can. You can just contact someone that you find interesting and ask if they can come for coffee, or if they can get on Skype with you, or if you can have some kind of exchange to say like, if you can help me with mentor me and help me to think on how I can do this, maybe I can do something back to you, like a skill-based exchange, I don't know. And that can be really good, so you have an input from someone else. I love mentoring people, so I'm open to the idea if there's some digital nomads who need some help, so that's not a problem. And you can always just ask people.
I've always found like Facebook groups really helpful with people now. And so I'll leave your details below if anyone wants to contact you.
Sure. I know not many, but I have some time, as I'm just new in Melbourne, so I have some time at the moment to mentor someone, and I would be happy to help out and share my experience.
And just quickly, your partner, your husband, he's a freelance filmmaker, right? So is he also working from home I guess he is.
So he's working on, he's a career coach, so he helps people to work on having a meaningful life project. So we were talking about the other day that happiness is actually meaningfulness in what you're doing. So he's helping people to find meaningfulness in their projects. So he's also into consulting, and he's like public speaker and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he did a film which is called What Music Do You Speak, which is about Argentinian music and how music is experienced in Argentina in everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have been, he's been working on that for a couple of years, and so just,
Oh, I love that. That's cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of your tips with us today and talking about like what you do as a consultant. It's really interesting to sort of learn more about like your workshops as well, because this is something a little bit different to just working online. You know, you take it a bit offline as well. So that's really interesting, and another strategy for earning an income while traveling. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to share all this.
So if you want to check out more of Daria's work and get in contact with her, maybe even set up a call or something, you can check out her Instagram, Murashka Consulting, and she also has a blog, murashkaconsulting.com. And she's also got a Facebook page. So I'll leave all the links below for you to check out. And there's some content on the blog as well about social media, and she's got all of the times and dates for the workshops as well if you're in the area. And also, if you haven't already, don't forget to grab our free ebook, 12 Steps to Full-Time Travel. I'll leave that in the link below as well. That will show you how to go from zero to traveling as a digital nomad through working online or starting your career as a freelancer. So again, thank you, Daria, for coming and talking today. And guys, we'll see you in the next Nomad Masterclass. Ciao.
Bye.